Hello, my gorgeous ones. Welcome to Alicia Budget Beauty. My name is Alicia here on my channel. I love all things affordable fashion and beauty. I do hauls, tutorials, reviews, declutters, all sorts of fun stuff. So if that sounds good to you, please subscribe, stick around, be a friend. All right, you guys, I have 18 more palettes that I'm decluttering out of my collection today. It is getting very, very difficult now for me to let some of these go. But the reason why I am decluttering some of these, and most of these are actually really, really good palettes. The reason is, if you haven't been around for a while, at one point I had about 500 palettes. And my mentality has changed a lot since then. I want more of a curated collection, things that I really love, instead of just the collector's mentality where I just collect all of them to just sit there. It just doesn't vibe with me anymore. So I've been trying to weed through them little by little. And also I have a rule that if I'm bringing in new palettes, then some have to go. Actually, more have to go than come in. So I just recently ordered the What's Up Beauty Dragon's Eye palette, the Cosmic Brushes Wonderland palette. I also plan on ordering the Adept 115, Element 115 palette, thinking about the new Divina palette. Then there was a teaser for the new Lethal Cosmetics. I don't know what it looks like yet. I'm like, oh, great. So because I'm bringing in some new stuff, I'm actually letting 18 go. So if you want to see which palettes those are, hear why I'm letting them go, keep on watching. All right, first up is the Persona Identity 2 palette. Now, I have pulled this out every single time I've done a declutter, thinking, do I need this? Do I want this? And then I swatch these shimmers and they're so pretty. They're very, let me just kind of show you here. This gold is honestly, I think the one shade that has made me want to keep this palette. It is, oh gosh, I shouldn't look at it. I shouldn't look at it. It's so pretty. But okay, I'm staying strong. But you guys, I never pull this palette out. I've thought about decluttering it 4 different times, put it back saying, no, this is too pretty. And then I haven't used it. So if I'm not using it, it makes no sense to me to keep it, even though the shimmers are good. The mattes are just okay. And I think that's one of the reasons why I'm letting it go. Like this chocolate, deep chocolate brown is a little bit patchy and dry. But man, that unique, the gold is, don't look at it, Alicia, is really pretty. But I'm letting it go. I'm letting it go. Okay, the next one, I don't know why I talked myself into buying this. It's the Pretty Rich palette from Too Faced. I bought this maybe around a year ago, and I kind of already knew I didn't love Too Faced formula anymore. So why I decided to get this, I don't know. But one of the reasons why I'm letting it go is it's so bulky. I know some people might think the packaging is really fun, really pretty. If you have like 5 palettes in your collection, okay, sure, yeah, have these funky, chunky packaging palettes. But for me, it's hard to store them. I still have, I don't know how many I have now. It's probably, I need to count, but I think I'm around 200 and something palettes now. So this color story is actually really, really pretty. I only used it twice in a year, also as another reason to let it go, but I did like my looks. It has this like glitter type of formula in here that is a glitter that I like, not like a, let's see, let me just show you. So we got right here. It's just, it's really, really pretty and sparkly on the eyes, and it's not just chunky flakes that are falling off. So I don't mind glitters that are like that. I really, really like this. It's almost worth it to keep this. It's like a duochrome in here, which is really cool for Too Faced. Honestly, if they came out with more shades like this and like this really pretty sparkly, different shifty sparkles, if they came out with more palettes like that and like in really more upscale, nicer, slim packaging, I would probably go back to buying Too Faced. But yeah, just the little chunky monkey is gonna go. All right, next up, you know that this has been on my chopping block for quite some time. I brought it up several times in different videos. The Cinderella palette from Sigma. I've decided it's time to let it go. If you missed my other videos, I had this in my didn't meet my expectations video and something else. I can't remember. Maybe it was just something that was on the chopping block, but I know what it was. It was a palette roundup because I did go ahead and make myself try this again last month, and still it just does not perform very well. The color story is gorgeous. The packaging is gorgeous. I wanted to convince myself to keep this palette. I've now tried it 4 or 5 times. Every single time, it just doesn't live up. The mattes don't blend well. They can be a little bit patchy. The shimmers aren't as impactful as I want them to be. So I decided that Cinderella has lost its luster and its slipper. Next, I have this cute little palette from LA Colors, the Hallow Queens palette. Honestly, this was a good little palette, and I got this in PR from LA Colors not this past Halloween, but the Halloween before that. I did a look that honestly, to this day, is one of my favorite looks. But the reason why I'm letting it go is, 1, it's not available anymore. So who can I recommend it to? 2, it is, I would say it's really just Halloween time, but not really, honestly. Like, these shades here you can wear anytime. You can wear this any time of the year. I don't know. I'm just letting it go because I don't need it. I'm trying not to talk myself back into keeping things. Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, I really loved my look with this. I love that it's I get so excited when something is so affordable and performs so well that sometimes I want to collect more of that stuff and keep that stuff when I know I don't really need it. So I'm gonna let it go, but just keep your eye out. LA Colors shadows are really, really good for the price. Next, this is one of those things where I bought it more so to test it out for like you guys, for TikTok. And so it is the Hallucination palette by You Can Be. This is a very affordable brand. They have it on Amazon. I got this off of Temu when Temu very first came around, about a little over a year ago. I think this was in my first order because it was $5 and you got all of these shades, and they're magnetic. So you can switch them around and customize it to make sense. I never did that. But I tested it, and I mean, I already knew this brand was good because I had another palette by this brand, but it was more so just the shock factor of $5 for all these shadows. What? And I created a look, I did a TikTok, people are like, I can't believe that was $5. But I don't need this because as good of quality as this is for $5, it was more expensive after that. I think it went up to like 12 or 15. But I have all of these shades in other palettes that I love and adore that are like more luxe or more special, more indie, whatever. So I just don't need this, but it's so insane that this was $5. Next, we have another palette that I've talked myself into keeping several times because I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this palette. It's the Lorella Adventurous Passport palette. And here it is inside. Very moody, cool tone palette. This performs really well. I don't remember how much I paid for this, but I want to say it was like $15. So I'm talking myself out of it though, because I went back and I mean, these tones are gorgeous. So I'm trying not to talk myself back into it, but I went back and swatched the mattes, and I don't love the mattes. The shimmers are really pretty. Like this Ireland, this Brazil, this Bali here, even this England is a beautiful blue. It's just that I don't want to keep palettes anymore that just some of it's good, some of it's okay. Like I want to love a palette, and I never went back to really use this all the times I thought about decluttering it. So that's just my sign. I need to let it go. But I mean, someone else might really love this. Next, we have a Dominique Cosmetics, the Unconditional palette. This came in Ipsy or Boxy maybe like a year ago. And I actually did like this. It has a glitter formula in here. That is another one that if it's going to be a glitter, I like for it to perform like this one. But I don't know. The shimmers in here are very meh. Like this one especially is real flat. So I know I'm not gonna get this out. I have much better quality in other palettes. But I mean, the packaging's really nice. And I do like the Rustic Glam palette of hers, and there's another one. I can't think of what it's called. But I do have another one of hers I'm decluttering. So let's just grab that. That's the Celestial Thunder palette. I think this color story is gorgeous for, you know, tropical summer vibes, even a little bit of fall with the orange and rust color here. I think this might have just gone a little old because I remember when I first got it, it felt a lot smoother, like the mattes felt better, and now they're just kind of dry and the shimmers are real dry. So I think maybe this just got old, but I did think the color story was really nice. Okay, this next one kind of makes me sad because it's the Kiko Milano Lost in Amalfi, the Dive into the Blue Sea palette. So this was a special edition, limited edition collection that came out 3-4 years ago. Gosh, probably 3.5-4 years ago now. And the reason why it makes me sad to let this go is this got me into cool tones. Before I fell in love with cool tones, I was warm tones and then like a smoky eye. That's all I ever did. I never did anything blue or like rarely anything like silver even. And I bought this one and the other one. I already decluttered the other one. It was a warmer color story. But I really loved this icy blue in here so much. And I was like, maybe I can do cool tones back then. And then now I love cool tones. So I thought this packaging was beautiful. This was fun. It's just now, it's not the quality that I love now, like 3.5-4 years later from back then. But back then, this kind of changed the game for me. Okay, another little cool tone palette I am decluttering is the Natasha Denona Mini Trio Chrome palette. So I did a video on this and I talked about it before, how it didn't meet my expectations. And I did really, really love my look from this. It was beautiful, but the way it was advertised was that it's gonna have this awesome, you know, multi-chrome in here. And this is like, drugstore has been putting some multi-chrome, like Wet n Wild put a multi-chrome in their Scooby-Doo palette that was better than this. Profusion has a multi-chrome in a palette that is better than this. And so based on that principle alone, I just felt like, Natasha Denona, you can do better. If you're gonna advertise like, whoa, this is something new, look at this color story, look at this multi-chrome, it needs to be good. And I'm kicking myself because I paid so much. I paid $10 shipping. $10 shipping for this tiny palette that I'm decluttering. I will not get any more minis from her. I do not like them. I much prefer the larger palettes of hers, better quality in those. So, lesson learned. Okay, next is the Item Beauty In My Element palette. This came in Ipsy or Boxy. I actually didn't mind this palette. I didn't have the problem. I know my friend Amanda could never make this one work for her. She said that it creased no matter what she did, I think, the shimmers. I didn't have that issue. It's just that the brand went out of business and I went back and looked at it and I'm just like, I'm not gonna use this palette. Like just, I don't know. The color story doesn't excite me. I've got these shades in other palettes that are more exciting. I'm never gonna use this, but you know, the brand tried, but RIP. This will probably come to no surprise if you've been watching my videos here lately. It is the Destino palette from Alamar Cosmetics. This is the infamous weirdo packaging that I do not like. That you have to lock, unlock, and you've got all this wasted space down here. I wanted to talk myself into this palette because I think the color story is kind of fun and unique. I think why I wanted to talk myself is finally Ipsy didn't put just an all boring neutral palette in, and I wanted to be so excited about that, but the formula is just okay. I love my Encanto palette from them. This one is just, I hate this packaging. All right, this one I feel a little bit bad about. This is the BH Cosmetics 1991. If my friend Marty is watching, I don't, what are you gonna say, Marty? Okay. Our friend Christine lives in Canada. Sweet, sweet, sweet soul. She had a YouTube. She doesn't really do much anymore with it, but she searched high and low for these palettes for us and sent them to us from Canada, which was so sweet. And that was about maybe 2 years ago now, something like that. And I just never use it. The reason why I wanted this palette was she found it and was like, there's multi-chromes in a BH Cosmetics palette we've never heard about. This was also before BH went out of business, and we were BH obsessed back then. And so we couldn't find this here. She found it for us. And so I feel so bad getting rid of it. But I tried it a couple of times, and the quality is just okay. It's not great. Had it been great, I would like love it, because I mean, I think the color story is really pretty. I used to love BH, BH now. So I'm sorry, Christine and Marty, don't judge me. Don't judge me. Okay, another BH Cosmetics, and you guys knew this was also on my chopping block, is the BFF, Alondra, and Elsie palette. So I talked about this palette being one that I used to think was so good. It was like, oh my gosh, when I first got it, I'm like, this quality is amazing. And I think I've just tried so much since then that when I went back and used this not that long ago, I was like, what happened to it? It's not as good. And I think it's just so much has come out that's amazing. I do like this color story. I like that it's cool and warm and pops of blue, but I would keep it almost only for this blue alone, because I love this tone of blue, but I have it several times over in other palettes, so I'm not keeping it for one matte shade. It's going away. Okay, this one's a little bit difficult for me to talk about, a little bit touchy even. I don't want to get too much into it, and it's really hard for me to let these go, but they are all 4 of my It's Belle Cosmetics palettes. This is hard because I really did love the brand. I used to get a little bit in PR from them. I actually, out of these, the only one I got in PR was this one, the Fruity Realm palette. And I did 3 looks with this and did lots of content for the brand. These 3 I purchased myself, and this is the hardest one for me to get rid of. Honestly, the Cool Summer palette, I've had it in so many rankings as one of the top best summer palettes that I own. I look at it right now and I want to cry getting rid of it, but the brand has not recently, I don't feel like I've been respected by the brand, and some of my really good friends as well, who were also working for the brand, I feel got really pushed to the side, taken for granted, advantage of even a little bit, and it just doesn't sit right with me. I can't use these palettes and recommend them anymore without feeling a certain way, and that isn't authentic, that isn't honest, so I'm gonna let them go, and it's unfortunate. That happens sometimes. I'm not telling you guys not to buy from this brand. Really, really pretty palettes, pretty color stories. She didn't do anything that is like a cancel. This is my personal issue with the brand, and some of my friends, how they've been treated. So it's sad, but all 4 are going. All right, you guys, that is my declutter. You guys will have to let me know. Do you think these are crazy to let go? Do you kind of get why I'm doing this? And I just encourage you, I know some people have a hard time with declutter. I used to too. I wanted to keep everything. I thought it sounded cool to say, oh, I've got every single palette by this brand, or I have, 10 palettes from blah, blah, blah. And now I'm just like, that's so silly. If I'm not using it, if it doesn't bring me joy, if it doesn't excite me, if the formula isn't amazing, I don't need to keep it. So I hope that helps you guys. Let me know in the comments. And as always, have fun shopping, budget shopping.